Ethan ran through the busy station, checking the screen for his train. The crowd pushed and moved in all directions, and he had to weave carefully to avoid bumping into people. His mind was racing. He was late for an important meeting, but more than that, he had been thinking about someone he wanted to see for days. He glanced at the platform and saw a woman standing there, looking around as if she were waiting for someone. She had brown hair tied back in a simple ponytail and wore a light blue coat. Ethan felt a sudden rush of relief. She looked just like the woman he had been hoping to meet. Without thinking, he ran up to her and hugged her tightly. Clara froze for a moment. She did not know this man, but he held her firmly, almost crushing her in his excitement. She quickly pulled back, raising her hands politely. "Excuse me," she said, her voice calm but firm. Ethan's face went red. He realized immediately that he had hugged the wrong woman. Stepped back, trying to smile. "I am so sorry. I thought you were someone else." Clara nodded, still unsure how to react. She looked at him with a small smile, deciding to be polite. There was something in his eyes that made her pause. He seemed sincere, not rude or careless. "It's okay," she said. "Mistakes happen." Ethan's relief was almost visible. He rubbed the back of his neck and glanced around. "I just didn't expect to be so clumsy in a crowd." Clara laughed softly, the sound light and pleasant. Ethan noticed it immediately. It was not the kind of laugh that forced itself out. It was natural and gentle. They stood for a moment, both a little awkward but no longer tense. Ethan decided to make conversation, hoping to ease the moment. "Are you waiting for someone?" he asked, keeping his tone casual. Clara nodded. "Yes, my brother is coming from the other side of town. He works late sometimes, so I wait here for him when the train is near." Ethan listened, genuinely interested. He was used to talking to people in formal settings, but here, talking to a stranger felt different, more real. Clara looked at him curiously. She could see that he was not like other men she had met at the station. His clothes were expensive but not flashy. There was confidence in his posture, yet it was not arrogance. She decided to ask something simple. Why are you here?" Ethan smiled faintly. "I am waiting for a train too, but I am running late for a meeting, and I just made a mistake by hugging the wrong person." Clara shook her head and smiled again. "It's a memorable mistake then." Ethan laughed, feeling a small weight lift off his shoulders. The crowd around them moved and shifted, but the two of them stayed close, talking in small sentences. Ethan learned that Clara worked at a bookstore nearby and loved helping people find books that suited them. She spoke with enthusiasm about stories and characters, and Ethan found himself listening closely. He liked how she spoke, how her eyes brightened when she talked about something she cared about. Ethan realized he had never felt this kind of interest in someone he had just met. Clara, on her side, felt intrigued by Ethan's attention. He did not talk about himself too much, but when he did, it was simple and honest. She could tell he was different from other people who pretended to be kind to impress someone. As the train arrived, Ethan offered to help Clara with her bag. She hesitated, but then let him hold it briefly. It was a small act, but it made her smile. Ethan felt a strange connection, as if this accidental meeting was meant to happen. As they stepped on the train together, they found a spot to stand and continued talking. Ethan realized he did not want the conversation to end, and Clara felt the same. For a moment, the station, the crowd, and the rush of the city faded away. It was just them talking and laughing. Ethan knew that he wanted to see her again, not because of a mistake, but because of the way she made him feel. Clara thought she might feel the same, but she decided to wait and see what would happen next. By the time the train reached the next stop, both of them felt that something unusual had started. Ethan knew he had made a mistake by hugging the wrong woman, but he also knew that mistake might have changed everything. Clara looked out of the window, thinking about the unexpected stranger who hugged her and made her day feel different. Both of them did not know it yet, but this moment was the beginning of something that neither of them could ignore. After their first meeting, Ethan could not stop thinking about Clara, the way she laughed, the way she spoke, and how her eyes showed both curiosity and kindness stayed in his mind. He knew he wanted to see her again. He hoped she felt the same, but he was careful not to rush things. Clara, on her side, remembered Ethan's apology and his gentle humor. She had not met many men who could be sincere without being overwhelming. She found herself thinking about him during her work at the bookstore. She tried to focus on customers, but sometimes she caught herself smiling at the thought of the accidental hug and their conversation on the train. One evening, Ethan returned to the station where they had first met. He hoped to see her again and maybe talk for a longer time. He walked slowly, scanning the crowd. He saw her near the platform, holding her bag and waiting patiently. He felt a rush of happiness and walked toward her. Clara noticed him too. She was surprised but not upset. She remembered how polite and honest he had been, and she wanted to see what would happen. Ethan approached with a small smile. "Hi, Clara. Hope you don't mind, but I wanted to see you again." Clara smiled, feeling a little nervous but pleased. "I'm glad to see you, Ethan." They started talking as they walked along the station. Ethan asked about her day, her work, and the people she helped at the bookstore. Clara explained her routine and how much she enjoyed reading to children and helping them find stories that inspired them. Ethan listened with genuine interest. He asked questions and responded thoughtfully, showing that he really cared about what she said. Clara started to enjoy his company more than she expected. She liked how he noticed details and remembered small things she had mentioned earlier. She felt a warmth she had not felt in a long time. Ethan suggested they sit on a nearby bench while waiting for their trains. Clara agreed, and they sat facing each other, talking about small things and learning about each other's lives. Ethan shared some stories about his work and travels, but kept them short, letting Clara speak more. He noticed her eyes lighting up when she talked about the bookstore and the children she helped. He admired her passion and honesty. Clara noticed that Ethan seemed different from other men she had met. He was confident, but not proud. He was interested in her thoughts and ideas, not only his own. They laughed together at small mistakes and funny moments that happened during the day. Ethan realized that he was enjoying her company more than he had expected. He felt a connection he could not ignore. Clara, too, felt a small excitement and curiosity growing in her heart. She wondered if this connection could be something more. As the evening came closer, Ethan knew he could not leave without asking her something. He looked at Clara and said, "Would you like to have coffee with me sometime? I would like to continue our conversation." Clara considered for a moment and then nodded. "Yes, I would like that." Ethan smiled, feeling a rush of happiness. He knew that this simple yes was the start of something new. They exchanged contact information and promised to meet again. Ethan walked away, feeling lighter than he had in weeks. He realized that the accidental hug that had started their meeting had now led to a genuine connection. Clara returned to her apartment with a smile, thinking about Ethan and wondering what would happen next. Both of them felt that the first meeting had created a bond that could grow if they let it. Neither could predict the future, but they both wanted to see where this connection might lead. For Ethan, it was the first time he felt truly interested in someone outside his busy life. For Clara, it was the first time in a long while that she felt curious and happy about a stranger who had become more than just a stranger. A few days later, Ethan and Clara met at a small coffee shop near the station. The place was quiet, with only a few people talking and the smell of fresh coffee in the air. Ethan arrived first and found a table by the window. He looked outside, thinking about how unexpected his feelings for Clara had become. He had never felt this way about someone so quickly. Clara arrived a few minutes later. She smiled when she saw Ethan and walked toward him. "Hi," she said simply. Ethan stood and offered her a chair. "Hi, Clara. I am glad you came." They both laughed softly, breaking the initial tension. Ethan ordered coffee for both of them, and they settled into conversation. First, they talked about simple things, the weather, their day, and small incidents at work. Ethan listened closely when Clara spoke about her job at the bookstore. She explained how she liked helping children discover stories and how it made her feel happy to see them excited about reading. Ethan asked questions, curious about her world. He had never worked in a bookstore, and her enthusiasm made him interested. Clara noticed that Ethan asked questions with attention. He did not just listen to answer back. He seemed to care about her answers. She felt more comfortable and started sharing more about herself, including her younger brother and how she took care of him. Ethan admired her responsibility and the way she handled challenges without complaining. He saw her strength and kindness clearly. Their conversation moved naturally. They shared small stories from their childhoods, funny moments from school, and trips they had taken. Ethan laughed at Clara's stories, and Clara smiled at Ethan's comments. The more they talked, the more they realized they had a lot in common. It was a connection neither of them had expected. Ethan noticed small details about Clara. The way her eyes lit up when she was excited, the slight tilt of her head when she was thinking, and the gentle gestures she made with her hands. He felt drawn to her in a way he could not explain. Clara, on her side, noticed Ethan's patience and attention. He seemed genuinely interested in her thoughts and feelings, not just in talking about himself. As they continued, Ethan decided to be honest about himself. Told her that despite his work and success, he sometimes felt alone. Explained that he liked meeting people who were real and honest, not just those who were impressed by wealth. Clara listened quietly, understanding his words. She appreciated his honesty and felt that she could trust him. After some time, Ethan suggested a short walk outside. They left the coffee shop and walked slowly along the quiet streets. The conversation continued, now more personal. Ethan asked about Clara's dreams and hopes for the future. She explained her wish to one day open a small library for children in her town. Ethan admired her vision and determination. He offered to help, not as a millionaire, but as someone who wanted to support her goals. Clara felt surprised but grateful. She had not expected such kindness. She realized that Ethan was different from anyone she had met before. He was not trying to impress her. He simply wanted to know and understand her. They walked side by side, talking and laughing, and the city around them felt smaller, quieter, and less busy. The day ended, and they returned to the station to catch their trains. Ethan felt a strong desire to see her again, and Clara felt the same. Their meeting had grown from a simple coffee to a connection neither of them could ignore. They said goodbye with a promise to meet soon, knowing that this was only the beginning of something meaningful for both of them. A few days after their coffee meeting, Ethan decided to visit the bookstore where Clara worked. He wanted to see her again and learn more about her world. When he arrived, he saw Clara arranging books on a shelf. She looked up and smiled when she noticed him. "Hi, Ethan," she said, her voice friendly and welcoming. Ethan returned the smile. "Hi, Clara. I thought I would stop by and see how you are." Clara nodded. "It is nice to see you here." Ethan walked around the small bookstore, noticing the neat arrangement and the warmth of the place. He could see why Clara loved her work. The store had a quiet charm, and Clara moved with ease, helping customers and arranging books. Ethan observed her carefully, admiring how she treated everyone with kindness and patience. After a few minutes, Clara took a break and sat with Ethan at a small table in the corner. They talked about her work and the children who visited the bookstore. Ethan listened attentively, asking questions about her favorite stories and how she encouraged children to read. Clara shared her thoughts openly, and Ethan realized that her passion for her work was part of what made her unique. During their conversation, Ethan learned more about Clara's personal life. She had a younger brother, Daniel, who depended on her. Ethan admired her dedication and responsibility. He offered to help with anything she might need, but Clara politely declined, saying she wanted to manage her responsibilities herself. Ethan respected her answer, but wanted to find a way to support her without making her feel uncomfortable. Clara noticed that Ethan was different from other men she had met. He was confident but not proud, attentive but not intrusive. She felt comfortable around him, and for the first time she could share parts of her life without fear of judgment. Ethan felt the same. He realized that he enjoyed being with her, because she was real, honest, and sincere. As the afternoon continued, Ethan suggested taking a short walk outside. Clara agreed, and they stepped into the quiet streets near the bookstore. The conversation became more personal, and Ethan shared his thoughts about life, work, and the pressures of being successful. Clara listened without interrupting, giving him the space to speak. Ethan appreciated her patience and her ability to understand without judging. They walked slowly, talking about their dreams and goals. Ethan explained that he wanted to make a difference beyond his work and wealth. Clara shared her wish to open a small library for children in the town, a dream she had held for years. Ethan was impressed by her vision and determination. He offered to help in any way he could, not to control or impress her, but to support her genuinely. Clara felt grateful and a little surprised. She had not expected such sincerity and care. Ethan's offer was thoughtful, not flashy, and she realized that he truly wanted to help, not just show off. Their connection deepened as they continued to talk, each learning more about the other's character and values. As evening approached, Ethan knew he had to leave. He walked Clara back to the bookstore and thanked her for spending the afternoon with him. Clara smiled, feeling a mix of happiness and curiosity about what would happen next. They said goodbye, with a promise to meet again soon. Ethan walked away feeling a sense of fulfillment. He had learned more about Clara and admired her even more. Clara returned to her work with a quiet smile, thinking about Ethan and the unusual connection they were forming. Both of them knew that their meetings were more than just casual encounters, and that something meaningful was beginning between them. A few days later, Ethan invited Clara to a small park near the city. He wanted them to have more time together away from crowds and noise. Clara accepted the invitation, curious to see what he had planned. When she arrived, Ethan was already there, sitting on a bench under a tree. He stood and waved when he saw her. "Hi, Clara. I am glad you came," he said. She smiled and walked toward him. "Hi, Ethan. It is nice to be here." They sat on the bench and looked around the quiet park. The air was fresh, and a gentle breeze moved the leaves. Ethan and Clara began talking about their week, sharing small stories and experiences. Ethan noticed how Clara's face lit up when she spoke about her brother and her work at the bookstore. He felt admiration for her patience and care. Clara listened as Ethan talked about his work and responsibilities. He explained that despite his wealth, he often felt alone and disconnected from real connections. Clara understood him in a way that surprised her. She realized that he was not only kind and caring, but also sincere in his words. She felt comfortable sharing more about herself, including her worries and hopes for the future. As they walked along the path, Ethan asked Clara about her childhood dreams. She explained that she always wanted to open a small library for children, a place where they could read and learn freely. Ethan was impressed by her vision and determination. He told her that he would help her in any way he could, not as a favor, but because he believed in her dreams. Clara felt a mix of surprise and gratitude. She had not expected such sincerity. Ethan was different from anyone she had met. He did not want to impress her or show off his wealth. He wanted to support her genuinely. She began to trust him more and felt a growing connection that she could not ignore. They sat on a bench near a small pond and continued talking. Ethan shared stories from his past, times when he felt lonely and unsure about people. Clara listened without interrupting, giving him space to express himself. She realized that she could be honest with him and that he would understand. Ethan admired her openness and the way she expressed her thoughts clearly and calmly. They laughed together at small jokes and shared ideas about life. Ethan noticed how thoughtful and intelligent Clara was. He felt drawn to her not just by her looks, but by her character and the way she cared for others. Clara felt the same, noticing Ethan's kindness and honesty. Their connection grew stronger with each passing moment. As the sun began to set, Ethan walked Clara back to the park entrance, felt a strong desire to hold her hand, but waited to see if she would offer it herself. Clara, feeling the same, reached out and took his hand. They held it gently, both aware of the moment's significance. Before leaving, Ethan said, "I hope we can spend more time together. I feel that this is only the beginning." Clara smiled and nodded. "I feel the same, Ethan. I want to see where this leads." They parted with a promise to meet again soon. Ethan walked away feeling a sense of happiness and anticipation. Clara returned home thinking about Ethan and the unusual connection that was growing between them. Both of them knew that their bond was deepening and that something meaningful was beginning to take shape. A few days later, Ethan planned a small surprise for Clara. He remembered the station where they first met and decided to return there with a bouquet of flowers. He wanted to make her smile and show that he remembered their first meeting. When Clara arrived, she saw Ethan standing near the platform with a warm smile and the flowers in his hand. Clara felt a little nervous, but pleased. She walked toward him and greeted him simply. "Hi, Ethan." Ethan handed her the flowers. "Hi, Clara. I wanted to give you these. I remembered our first meeting here, and I thought you would like them." Clara accepted the flowers with a gentle smile. She was touched by the gesture, and it made her feel special in a way she had not expected. They walked along the platform together, talking about their day and sharing small stories. Ethan asked about her work at the bookstore and her younger brother. Clara spoke with ease, and Ethan listened carefully, showing genuine interest in every word. He asked questions and responded thoughtfully, making Clara feel valued and appreciated. Clara noticed that Ethan's attention was focused entirely on her. He did not seem distracted or rushed. She realized that he cared about what she had to say and wanted to know her better. She felt a growing trust and warmth toward him. Ethan admired Clara's kindness and dedication. He saw how she cared for others and how much effort she put into helping people, even in small ways. They found a quiet spot near the station benches and sat down. Ethan shared a story about his work and some challenges he had faced. Clara listened quietly, giving him the space to speak. She realized that he was not afraid to be honest about his life and struggles. Ethan noticed how patient and understanding Clara was. He felt comfortable sharing parts of himself that he had not shared with many people before. As they talked, Ethan took a small step and gently held Clara's hand. She looked at him, surprised at first, but then she smiled. She did not pull away. They held hands quietly, enjoying the moment and the connection growing between them. Ethan remembered the first hug that had started everything. He felt a deeper bond, a genuine connection that went beyond the initial mistake. They continued to talk as the evening approached. Ethan asked Clara about her dreams and plans for the future, explained her desire to open a small library for children. Ethan listened carefully and encouraged her, saying that her vision was inspiring and that he would support her in any way he could. Clara felt grateful and reassured. She realized that Ethan's words were sincere and that he truly wanted to help, not for his own benefit but because he cared. As the sun began to set, Ethan and Clara walked slowly back to the main part of the station. Ethan looked at her and said, "I remember the first time we met, by mistake. And I never thought it would lead to something like this." Clara smiled and replied, "I feel the same. It was unexpected, but I'm glad it happened." They shared a quiet laugh, feeling the connection strengthen with every word. Before leaving, Ethan asked if they could meet again soon. Clara nodded and said yes. They hugged gently this time, a hug filled with understanding, trust, and a promise of more moments to come. Ethan walked away feeling happier than ever. Clara returned home thinking about Ethan and the strange, wonderful way their relationship had started. Both of them knew that their bond was growing stronger and that their feelings for each other were real and meaningful. A few days after the surprise at the station, Ethan invited Clara for a walk in the park where they had spent time together before. He wanted them to have a quiet moment to talk and enjoy each other's company. Clara agreed, feeling a mix of excitement and curiosity. When she arrived, Ethan was waiting by the bench, smiling warmly. "Hi, Clara. I am glad you came," he said. She returned the smile. "Hi, Ethan. I am happy to be here." They walked slowly along the path, surrounded by trees and the soft sounds of birds. Ethan asked Clara about her day and her week, as she shared small stories about the bookstore and her brother, Daniel. Ethan listened closely, asking questions and responding with interest. Clara noticed how genuine he was. He was not rushing the conversation or talking too much about himself. He focused on her words and thoughts, and she felt valued. They found a quiet spot by the pond and sat down. Ethan spoke about his life, his work, and the pressures of being a millionaire. He admitted that despite his success, he often felt lonely and disconnected from people. Clara listened calmly, understanding his words. She shared her own thoughts and fears, including worries about her responsibilities and the challenges she faced. Ethan admired her honesty and courage. He realized that he respected and liked her more with every word. As the afternoon passed, Ethan looked at Clara and said, "I remember the first time we met, by mistake. I never thought a hug could lead to something so real." Clara smiled, remembering the same moment. She admitted that she felt a connection from that first encounter, even though it was accidental. Ethan reached for her hand. She did not pull away. They held hands quietly, feeling the bond between them strengthen. They talked about their dreams and future plans. Clara shared her wish to open a small library for children in her town. Ethan encouraged her and offered to support her in any way he could. Clara felt grateful for his sincerity. She realized that Ethan's words and actions were genuine. She trusted him more with every passing moment. Ethan, in turn, admired her dedication, kindness, and strength. He felt that he had found someone truly special. As the sun began to set, Ethan suggested walking to a small bridge overlooking the pond. They stood there, watching the reflection of the sky in the water. Ethan turned to Clara and said, "I know we met by chance, but I feel like this was meant to happen. I like you, Clara, more than I can say. Clara felt her heart beat faster. She looked into his eyes and replied, I like you too, Ethan. I never expected this, but it feels right. They smiled at each other, knowing that their feelings were real. They stood quietly, holding hands, enjoying the moment. Ethan felt a sense of completeness he had never known before. Clara felt safe and happy, realizing that she could be herself with him. Ethan leaned slightly and hugged her gently. Clara hugged him back, feeling warmth and trust. The hug was different from the first one, filled with meaning and understanding. Before leaving, Ethan suggested that they plan more time together. Clara nodded, agreeing. They walked back slowly toward the park entrance, talking and laughing softly. Both knew that their connection had grown into something deeper and real. Ethan and Clara had started with a simple, mistaken hug, but now it had led to love and trust. As they parted for the evening, both felt certain that their story was only beginning, and that their bond would continue to grow stronger with each day.